4 trades and 10k profits, everything called in advance and live during the live streams. Let me show you exactly how I did it so you can easily copy this framework. Price action created this range. I think it's 3 months range. No, it was monthly range, right? No, 3 months, sorry. You see, this is what's happening when you don't have the annotations on your charts, right? So we had this big range in here. Not yet, exactly, but soon. We have this big range, we have the inside candle, right? And then manipulation, and we starting move higher, right? Now we go lower time frame, right? And as you can see, as we have this big range and we have this midpoint of it, let me put some color so we see it clearly, right? Now we are exactly in this range, in the midpoint of this range. This is where mostly the pullback is coming. This is where you're getting pullback, right? So therefore, it's another indices for me that I can get pullback in here, right? On this 3 months range, right? Let me remove this again. So we can get pullback in here. All right, that's on the monthly. Let's go lower time frame. Do I get some setup? Do I get something what I know? All right, let's look. Yo Dave, how it's going? How my friend? Yeah, everything's going fine. Everything's going fine. Just doing the stuff, decoding the markets, right? So we are here, and look what was here again, right? You see this high and this high, like equal highs, right? Then we have this manipulation, right? Also, we had here this weekly range, right? So we had the range which has been created like a part of these two equal highs, right? Here is the low, and here is again the 50%, right? After the manipulation, we could be looking for the model number 1 and targeting 50%, right? It already played. I missed this trade. Okay, we will look, right? I will explain these two, and then we will look what you want to. Then after this, you're looking for a 61.8 pullback, and you can be targeting this whole range, right? So that's the system. That's my strategy, right? Right now, let's go to break it lower time frame, right? If this is happening on the weekly, I am looking at the market structure on the 4 hours. That's the rule. That's how the scaling makes sense for me. We have this weekly range in here, right? You see this purple one, right? Here we have this up candle which been running above these two equal highs, right? Manipulated, took out the sellers, those who try to sell maybe later, and also attracted buyers, right? So buyers are right now trapped. Then the price reversed, created order block, right? We have this up candle, right? We have this up candle and then candle closing below. That's the moment where you're getting a order block, and that's when you are entering the first model short, right? In here, and you're targeting 50%, right? I didn't have this trade, I didn't catch it. But then I know that my another chance is coming after the pullback. Once we reach the 50% in here, you can see, right? We're getting a pullback, right? You see how it's always repeating. We're getting a pullback in here, right? That's the same confluence which I have here on the higher time frame, that we are actually on the 50%, right? So price is actually the fractal. It's happening on the all time frames, right? So let's go back to this 4 hours in here, right? We get that pullback in here, and then I'm measuring the Fib from this high to this low, right? I measure the Fib, and then I get these two levels, right? And between 61.8 and 0.8 Fib, I'm looking for a level, right? So as you can see, we have came here all the way back into this level, right? And that's where you actually shorting, and you can actually be again scaling the same thing in here, right? Because look, again, you got big candle right in here, manipulated, price closed inside. If you're looking this on the 4 hours, then your entry will be on M15, right? And then you could do that again, smaller and smaller time frame. But M15, I'm not trading that, right? Looking 4 hours in here, right? So therefore, in here, I'm seeing a chance that this hour trade, right, has a potential to drop lower as a swing position, right? And again, I could be targeting this low or even into 50%. I think it has a chance to dump down. But what I'm going to do, I have my
target somewhere around here. Why? Because this down candle has took these lows, right? So it could be counted as a order block. So I will measure all this. Now I have right tool, all this, and in the midpoint of it, right, which is in here, it's where I want to exit, right? Because if this is going to be happening and maybe going even lower, I already know by journaling all of these things and seeing these patterns that once we played model number 1 in here, then we get this pullback 61.88, a price starting dropping lower, and this down candle, sharp one, that took this low, right, that will have some reaction. And what can happen is something like this, right, and then maybe reaching this low. And I do not want to be in the market when this is happening, because it's a fucking frustrating, right? Now here is an inch, right? Let me explain this one. Here I have the little bit better entry on the inch. So entering just right in here, right? And let me take you to the trending view. Let me break it down for you, right? So again, very similar price action is happening in here, right? So on the higher time frame, I do think that we're gonna see something like this, right? Something like this, down and then higher, right? But right now it's a room to go lower, right? We are still trading kind of in this, if you look at the swing, we are still trading kind of above the discount, right? So we're waiting for the price to drop lower, which will be in here, right? Below this candle will be the first significant liquidity, right? So I think we're going there on the daily time frame, right? So that's my bias on the daily. Also, we are not here in any key level, right? It's also, even if this level is working, it's still lower, right? So in my opinion, that's why we could go lower, right? Let me take you to the lower time frame. Actually, let me stay here, but just zoom it, right? I've been drawing this daily range, right? And what we can see in here is basically the continuation lower, right? So here we have this balanced price range, right? Price been trading lower, manipulated up, take up these two highs, right? And then in this, I've been looking for a key level, right? So let me take you on the 4 hours, and for me, it's here, right? So it would be this level, right? This last up candle that take us lower in here, right? So on the daily, we have did what? Let me show you on the daily. We have traded above this day, right? And now we're closing inside, most likely for the continuation, right? So we want to be selling high, manipulation of the previous day's high, right? Now again, now we just following the same process, right? We have this daily high, right? Price traded above into the key level, right? And dropped lower and trading from this 1 hour order block in here, right? Price dropped lower, retested nicely, and now we are set for the move down, right? I do think that we will go to these lows, right? Even lower, as you know, as we have these drawings on the higher time frame, right? I think we will go lower down here, but you know, especially crypto markets, right? That there can be some manipulations, right? It can move a little bit and then take you out, right? So my target will be just a 50% of this CLS range, right? So that's how I got this trade in here, right? Running and just waiting, right? Now we're going to the lower time frame, and here is what we see, right? So on the 1 hour, this up candle that did this manipulation, and then we closed below, it's our confirmation of the order block, right? In other words, change in the order flow, right? The perfect entry would be after this close in here, right? And then we could be targeting this 50% and this low, right? Why? Because we have the narrative that most likely price will go where? Into these two equal lows, right? So what most likely happened in here, right? These two equal lows. What is it? It's a double bottom. And in here, some traders most likely have what? Trend line, right? So the price created this double bottom. That's where many people, those who entered this trend line and been expecting price going higher, that's where they will put the stop losses, right? And that's basically it, right? So we have the narrative of price going lower and this inducement which has attracted the traders inside the trade, and after the break of these highs, right, let me zoom it now, okay, right, and after this break of this daily high with this strong candle, right, which is like another inducement, right, another trick how to suck traders into the wrong side of the trade, right, because they think this double bottom, right, is where the price will not go again because it's rejected, but in the fact, by rejecting there 2 times, it's where the bigger stop loss cluster will be, right? That's why I think we go lower, right? So we have this daily range, right? Price traded above it, reacted of this higher time frame daily order block, right? So we can write it in there. That's what I suggest you to do, because sometimes I don't do that and then I'm a little bit lost in my drawings, right? So it's a daily order block, right? This is what? This is our daily CLS range, right? So we can draw right in here also, right? I think I have a shortcut for it here, right? So daily CLS. And then we need to see our confirmation, right? So it is what? It is again closing below this up candle that created this damage, this manipulation, that where the traders has entered, right? Why now our stop loss will most likely be safe in here, right? Of course, this is always just a probability, because those traders who has entered in here in this breakout, right, they entered long in here and now they are trapped. They most likely have stop losses somewhere below these lows, right, or maybe below this low, right? Our stop loss will be most likely safe in here because market will not give them the chance to exit from this trade, right? Some traders who has the long right now in here, they wish that they didn't make this mistake entering with the big leverage, and they wish that the price will go higher and give them the chance to exit, right? So right now most likely market makers will be pushing to their liquidation, right? So we are actually trying to understand who is participant of the market right now and what are they doing, right? So in here is our confirmation, right? And it's not daily order block, but 1 hour order block, right? 1 hour order block, and there is where we can enter, right? And here we have more confirmations. It's not just this order block, but also the breaker block, right? These consecutive up candles, let's mark it as a breaker, which is for me the blue one, right? And also we have these fair value gaps, right? So price should go lower, right? We have a time, we have a New York session running, right? And most likely we will see price going in there, right? That would be great if we see just a dump down like it was in the previous streams. We don't know, right, if it's gonna happen or not. It's still printing lower lows, right? I have entered a little bit, not exactly. Here's actually what I did, right? At this moment when I get this order block, I've been expecting a little bit pullback, right? And as you can see, my limit was not filled, right? Price dropped lower, right? So I have this entry with the stop in here, right? And if price retrace, I will be adding into the position, right? I will be adding a little bit more, right? And targeting these lows in here, right? So that's the framework behind my link trade, right? Ethereum also is printing this pullback, right? So let me show you what I see in here. We have this range, this higher time frame range, right? We're reaching this 50%. I do think that we're gonna get pullback and continuation higher, right? So maybe on the lower time frame we could find a short trade, right? So let me show you, right? We have this range manipulated. Now price most likely will be closing inside, right? And also it's already happening on this range, right, where we have 2 candles closed inside, right? To be more confirmed, I would like to see this week also closed inside, right? Let's drop lower time frame, right? On the 4 hours we can see this last up candle, right, manipulated this range, these 2 highs, right, closing inside, right? So there would most likely be a kind of short setup like this, right? this 50% as a first target and this one as a second, right? So that's kind of setup which I already have a little bit drawn in here, and I think it could play out, right? Giving me a sense as a with all this setups what's happening in here, right? Because we had this run above the range, right? What has happened in here, right? First break, then creating this double top, right? Then again, look at this. You have trend line break, right? New stop losses appears in here. They run for the stop losses, right? And now it could happen, right? I think I'm going to short this one, right? Because it looks good. I was looking at it before. Everything makes sense to me. Yeah, scalping will come a little bit later because I need to a little bit prepare something what I've been working on, some strategy which I've been trading in the past before I went hard time frames back, and I need to a little bit back test and get more confidence, right, before I will start to do scalping. But definitely I'm planning that for the streams to go more intradays, right, like lower time frames, right? Yeah, I think I'm going to take this short in here, right? I think I will enter the market in here. So how I want to do it, right? But of course, guys, this would not be a what I'm always doing, right? I'm setting up a first stop loss, right, and then target I can adjust later, right? And I'm going to go with the value of 20k, right? Stop will be above these highs which been manipulated, which is 2790, right? And it's a 0.5% for me risk, and take profit 2.4, right? And I'm going to short it, and now I'm going to adjust my target, right? So my target could be a little bit bigger, right? However, I will definitely want to take some partials, right? So I'm going to set up my alarms in here, also in here, right, on these lows, and then I will try to hold something longer, right? And also, if you're doing your journal, your trading journal, you will find out that you are able to get great trades. But if you're not profitable, it's probably because you do the bullshits in the time when you shouldn't do anything, right? That's when the most of the mistakes are made, right? When you shouldn't do anything, you think you forcing the setups, right? So we will see how it goes.